This trip took me across Taiwan's eastern coast, through marble gorges, cliffside highways, and some of the country's most remote towns. I crossed endless rice fields, learned traditional archery from one of Taiwan's indigenous groups, and eventually ended up on a volcanic island closer to the Philippines than Taipei. And that was only the beginning. Mountains on one side, the ocean on the other, with most people living in a narrow strip in between. And for a place this small, it's got just about everything. Busy streets, great food, majestic cliffs, marble gorges, open coastlines, endless rice fields. Believe it or not, this is Eastern Taiwan. Starting in Taipei, I followed the eastern coastline south to Hualien, home to the Qingshui Cliffs, Taroko Gorge, and one of the most scenic railway journeys on the island. From there, I continued through the East Rift Valley to Chishang, known for its rice fields and bento boxes. Then on to Taitung, known for its indigenous cultures and surfing. And finally, I set out for Lanyu, better known as Orchid Island, home to the Tao people and a history that extends far beyond its shores. For many travelers, Taipei is their first introduction to Taiwan. Dense, fast-paced, and highly connected. The city acts as the main gateway to the rest of the island. Before leaving Taipei, I decided to revisit a familiar spot from my previous trips, a small beef noodle place called Laochou Beef Noodles. Taiwanese beef noodles are heavily influenced by migrants who arrived from mainland China, and today they've become one of the island's most iconic comfort foods. Taipei is the capital of Taiwan. It is the political and economic center of the island. It's built around one of the most extensive metro systems in Asia, which makes moving through the city fast and efficient. Most journeys start here, before heading out toward the rest of the island. But beyond Taipei, the landscape changes quickly. As Taiwan's western plains give way to mountains and coastline, the east side of the island begins to feel very different. The railway along Taiwan's east coast is considered one of the most scenic in the country, with mountains on one side and the Pacific on the other. Development here is far more limited compared to Taiwan's densely populated west coast. After around 2.5 hours, I arrived in Hualien, one of the main cities along Taiwan's east coast, and the gateway to Taroko National Park. Okay, I'm on my way to Tongdamen Night Market. Medyo maulan tonight, and I have a massive headache, so ngayon lang tayo mag-explore. Eastern Taiwan is home to many of Taiwan's indigenous communities, and around Hualien, their presence becomes much more visible, from cultural performances to multilingual signages around the city. Hualien sits along Taiwan's east coast, where the land opens up from the mountains to the Pacific. Just outside the city, places like Qixingtan offer a very different side of Taiwan, quieter, more open, shaped by the ocean. Now, rumor has it that if you're able to stack 7 of these, at least 7, you can make a wish and it will come true. Now, the more you can stack, the more likely it will happen. But I'm not really good at this, so let's try. North of Hualien lies one of the most dramatic stretches of coastline in Taiwan. Some sections of the Qingshui Cliffs rise more than 800 meters directly above the ocean. Along the stretch of Taiwan's east coast, the mountains don't slope gently into the sea, it drops straight into the ocean. Taroko National Park is known for its marble gorge, formed over millions of years as the river cut through the mountains. It's one of Taiwan's most visited natural landmarks, but even today, parts of it are still recovering from recent earthquakes. Taiwan sits along the boundary of 2 tectonic plates, making earthquakes a regular part of life on the island. And nowhere is that geological activity more visible than here. Following recent earthquakes, several sections of Taroko remain closed due to landslides and damage. The Changchun Shrine was built in memory of the workers who died while constructing the Central Cross Island Highway, a project that connected Taiwan's east coast to the rest of the island through the mountains. Around Taroko, indigenous influences remain deeply woven into local culture and cuisine, including ingredients like macao, a native mountain spice sometimes referred to as Taiwan's indigenous pepper. By evening, Dongdamen Night Market felt completely different from the night before. The rain was gone, the crowds were back, and the waterfront had come alive once again. South of Hualien, the railway continues through Taiwan's East Rift Valley, a long stretch of fertile land formed by the movement of tectonic plates over millions of years. Compared to the larger cities further north, Chishang feels noticeably smaller and more rural. But across Taiwan, the town has become closely associated with one thing: rice. Chishang's bento boxes have become famous throughout Taiwan, originally sold to passengers passing through the station during the early days of rail travel. Even today, they remain one of the town's best-known specialties. One of the most popular ways to explore Chishang is by bike. The area is mostly flat, with quiet farm roads weaving through rice fields and canals. This area became especially popular after a series of ads featuring the famous Mr. Brown coffee were filmed here. Today, Mr. Brown Avenue has become one of the most recognizable landscapes in eastern Taiwan. Chishang is known for its rice fields, some of the most productive in Taiwan, thanks to the clean water flowing down from the mountain. The East Rift Valley provides a reliable water source for agriculture, helping make this one of Taiwan's most important rice-producing regions. It's a very windy day today. I'm not sure kung makakapagtanong tayo today. Who knows? Despite its small size, Qixing has developed a strong reputation for local agricultural products, many of which are sold directly to the town's farmer associations. Dapo Pond is one of the largest wetlands in the area, surrounded by rice fields and mountains on nearly every side. Much of eastern Taiwan, weather here can change very quickly. And compared to the larger cities on the west coast, places like Chishang tend to quiet down much earlier at night. Next stop, Taitung. Located along the southeastern coast, the city is known for its strong indigenous presence, Pacific-facing coastline, and slower pace of life compared to the larger urban centers. Throughout the city, indigenous influences become immediately visible, especially through public art, performances, and design. Parts of the old railway line have since been converted into public parks and pedestrian spaces, while some of the older train infrastructure remains preserved throughout the city. Taitung is one of the 4 directional cities in Taiwan, with Taipei being Taiwan North, Taichung being Taiwan Central, Tainan being Taiwan South, and Taidong being Taiwan East. It's known for its strong indigenous culture, rugged coastlines, and one of the best surfing in Taiwan. Unlike the western coastline, much of the east faces directly into the Pacific Ocean. Powerful waves, strong seasonal winds, and the lack of large natural harbors have helped shape both the landscape and the way communities developed here. Today, Taidung's coastline has become especially popular for surfing, free diving, and other ocean activities. The East Coast is home to many of the island's indigenous groups, including the Bunun people. Known traditionally for their mountain culture, hunting traditions, and polyphonic vocal singing. Traditional Bunun music is known for its complex vocal harmonies, with some forms recognized internationally for their unique structure and sound. Like many indigenous cultures throughout Taiwan, Bunun traditions were deeply shaped by mountain life, seasonal movement, and hunting practices. Many traditional skills and crafts continue to be preserved through workshops and cultural programs like these. From Taitung, ferries connect the mainland to some of the outer islands, including Green Island and Lanyu. Off the southeastern coast lies Lanyu, better known as Orchid Island, a volcanic island home to the Tao people, one of Taiwan's indigenous groups with cultural and linguistic ties to the northern Philippines. Most travelers reach the island by ferry from Taitung. Depending on sea conditions, the journey usually takes around 2 to 3 hours across open water. On Lanyu, the mountains and the ocean leave very little room in between. Most communities are built along a narrow coastal strip, connected by a single road that circles the island. So we made a few errors. I failed to contact the hotel to arrange for a pickup service and wala palang taxi dito. May ATM but hindi sila tumatanggap ng international cards. Make sure your transportation is arranged. Make sure you have enough cash. Transportation here isn't something you can improvise at the last minute. Unlike the mainland, where things are extremely convenient, visiting the island requires a bit more planning. But once the initial chaos settled down, the island slowly began to reveal its charm. The people of Lanyu are known as the Tao, one of Taiwan's indigenous groups and part of the wider Austronesian world. A cultural and linguistic family that stretches as far west as Madagascar and as far east as Hawaii and the Pacific Islands. In fact, the town name for the island is Pongsono Tao, which roughly translates to Island of the People. The similarities become even more noticeable when comparing certain Tao words with languages spoken in the northern Philippines, particularly in the Batanes Islands. The Tao are traditionally a seafaring people, and many aspects of life on the island still revolve around the ocean. Their wooden boats, known for their distinctive carvings and patterns, remain one of the strongest symbols of Tao culture. Development on Lanyu remains relatively limited, giving much of the island a far more untouched appearance. Lanyu is also known for its clear waters and rich marine life, making snorkeling and free diving especially popular around the island. The waters surrounding Lanyu are part of the Kuroshio Current, one of the strongest ocean currents in the Pacific. The warm current helps support a diverse marine ecosystem around the island, including tropical fish, coral reefs, and migratory species passing through eastern Taiwan. Okay, so dito sa Lanyu, kailangan mo ng motorcycle. If wala, you're basically screwed. So right now, I'm gonna try my luck sa pag-hitchhike. Outside the main villages, parts of the island can feel surprisingly isolated. Most people move around by scooter, and it didn't take long to realize that hitchhiking here wasn't going to be as easy as I thought. So no one seems to be stopping for me, so let's just try to walk. Let's see if we can make it back. After more than half an hour of unsuccessfully trying to stop passing motorists, I eventually gave up and started walking back toward Dongqing instead. At one point, I even got chased by dogs, so things were going great. And then, completely out of nowhere, two women driving by suddenly stopped in front of me and offered me a ride back without me even asking. Moments like these ended up becoming some of the things I remembered most about Lanyu, because despite the island's logistical challenges, the warmth of the people more than made up for it. Life here has always been closely tied to the ocean. A few things illustrate that connection better than the flying fish. Flying fish play an important role in Tao culture and cuisine, especially during the traditional flying fish season that shapes much of the island's fishing calendar. It wasn't until my last day on Lanyu that I finally got the chance to try some. Honestly, it kind of tastes like tinapa, a kind of smoked fish that's common in the Philippines. And after several days on the island, it was finally time to head back to the mainland. From the dense streets of Taipei to the cliffs of Hualien, the rice fields of Chishang, the Pacific coastline of Taitung, and finally the volcanic landscapes of Lanyu, Eastern Taiwan revealed a very different side of the island. Across the journey, indigenous culture remained deeply woven into everyday life, from food and language to music, craftsmanship, and tradition. And the farther east I traveled, the more connected everything began to feel. And one thing I realized was that for the people who settled these islands, the ocean was never a barrier. It was a highway.